a magic dragon lives by the sea and frolics in the autumn mists in a land called Honolulu. Drinking and thinking, occasionally tinkling, let's talk some science.
Oh, it went down more smoothly than I thought it would.
Yeah, it's that orange juice in there.
Really deadens the blow.
All right, welcome to Gin and Jargon, the podcast where inebriation and discovery go hand in hand.
Our two goals today, get drunk and learn something new. So we're here at North High Brewing Company here in beautiful Columbus, Ohio.
Woot woot!
It's been unseasonably warm here, but it just dropped down to the fucking
Yeah, we
20s,
had a
30s
January
today.
thaw,
Shit.
and now we're getting back to the February dark, is what I'm
Yeah.
going to call it. The
Oh, well.
days are getting longer. I saw sunlight this morning on my way to work. That was pretty nice. It might have just been the reflection of sunlight, but such is life. What are you drinking?
I've got, they just call it IPA here. It's the North High Brewing IPA.
You know, they're pretty simple with that because I'm drinking the North High Brewing Imperial Porter. That's its name, Imperial Porter.
That's all you need to know. Yep.
Simple when you know how.
Before we got these ones, we both had a cucumber ale, which is not really in the season, but
Yeah.
I had it here when I was in here in the summer, and it is really, really good.
It's absolutely delightful.
Yeah,
you know
great
how
summer beer.
at fancy hotels they'll have little water jugs set out in the foyer with fruit or vegetables in
Cucumbers.
the water, like cucumber water, and you get just that slight hint of cucumber, and you're like, oh, this is very refreshing.
It's very fancy.
It was just like that. Very refreshing
You know you
drink.
can make that at home.
What, cucumber water?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about the cucumber beer.
Yeah.
I'm not fancy enough or, profligate enough to throw vegetables into water when I don't intend to eat them.
You can eat them after.
Fair.
good.
But they'll have lost
It's
all their
good.
flavor to the water.
Anyway, so the shot we just took was called a Hot Damn.
Hot damn.
So whiskey, rum, vodka, and OJ. I'm
Yeah.
assuming 1-to-1. To one.
One. Yeah, all of those.
Okay.
Equal parts, I guess. I didn't make it, so I couldn't tell you. But
Easy enough.
it was all right. Not as much flavor as could be, but then again, if you want more flavor, it'd have to be something like orange flavoring extract or something like sugary,
Yeah.
simple syrup with orange flavor. That's what it would have to be if you want more of it. As it was, the orange juice helped it go down pretty smoothly.
For sure.
So,
Anything interesting? It's been a while since we've been together. Oh, you know what? Something I forgot to bring up. We were unable to kind of get together and record over the holiday break, so I never got to give you my gift. So here, happy holidays, Merry
Oh,
Christmas.
you sucker. I completely forgot. Ah, dang it.
I thought it would remind you, but I was like, maybe not.
Ah. Okay. Let's see. I had no idea this was coming. And now... Ooh, is this a fancy pen?
It's a space pen.
Oh, that's right. You told me you were going to get me a space
Yeah, I
pen
know.
like
For Christmas.
3 years ago.
Just check it out. I hope you
Oh,
like
that's really awesome.
Look
You know,
great.
here's the real hope, that I have occasion to use this for its intended purpose. Yeah. Go up into space and then write about it for a few seconds before I come back down.
I guess most people don't really know. Space pens are they're special because they have a cartridge which is gas pressurized. The ink is really thick. It's like specially formulated, and the ink in the cartridge is followed by like a ball bearing, and behind that is pressurized gas. So the ball bearing always exerts pressure on the gas.
The gas always exerts pressure on the ball
on
bearing.
the ball bearing.
Yeah.
What did I say?
The ball bearing does the exerting, which it doesn't. I mean, it exerts by the transitive property on the ink, but...
So
Yeah,
so I'm making my way back.
Yeah. I'm an engineer.
Really, the brass end cap exerts the pressure on the... I'm just kidding. So, in effect, it always writes. It'll write underwater, actually. It'll write, like, in the rain. It'll write upside down. It'll write in 0G. It can withstand, like, really high and really low temperatures. So, yeah, they're awesome. They always work.
Yeah.
Unlike this pen. But
that poor thing. It lived a good life. I'm glad I had one for you to use, and I'm glad you brought an extra one for me to use.
Boom.
Yeah,
Even though you have
just
a
ready
notepad,
for this.
but
Eric
anyway.
Chuang. And I'm David Rutz.
We forgot that, didn't we?
No, I just got it. I just got to it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyway, so what's in the news?
So we haven't met in a while. There have been a bunch of things in the news. It's been, I don't know if you call it a good month for science or a bad month for science. Every month is a good month for science. We're constantly learning. Go us. Go world.
Woohoo.
But NASA is planning a mission to an asteroid.
Right.
To mine an asteroid. The cost currently is through the roof, as
Mining
you'd
an
expect.
asteroid. You know,
But
that thing that you do when you're like grinding in any like space-based RPG. I'm gonna mine another asteroid.
yeah, first you got to catch it. Nope, that sort of thing. Stephen Hawking turned 75.
Wow.
Yeah, he's an old son of a gun, especially with Lou Gehrig's disease. Like, well done
yeah,
him.
I mean, I should have killed him a long time ago. But
the disease, not people.
not Lou Gehrig.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have an opportunity to kill Stephen Hawking. I read a little bit ago, maybe this morning or yesterday, that there was a I don't know, it was like a quadriplegic or paraplegic or quadriplegic or something like that. A guy just recently regained his motor abilities due to stem cell therapy.
Yeah.
So he's now able to like write his name and stuff like that. The article was like he can do basic things like write his name. It was like, yeah, I guess writing your name is like a basic thing to everybody, but like the amount of fine motor control that's required to write your name.
Right. They didn't say he wrote his name well. It was probably
true,
all
yeah.
over the place and perhaps slightly legible, but that's amazing.
No, he's
that we
just
can
like dishing out
accomplish that
John
kind of thing.
Hancock signatures and shit. He's doing John Hancock forgeries.
Just X.
It's just, yeah.
It's just an X. It's not that
It's
fancy.
like a surf. Anything else?
You know, on that topic, they've managed to reverse the aging process in mice.
Oh, with the stem cells.
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with the process. I'm not a biotech guy, a bioengineer. I just think it's fantastic. But along that vein of research, they've managed to reverse, and it's not the entire aging process. It's just certain portions of it that they're saying, oh, well, this that was never supposed to heal actually healed on the mouse. And these mice, given this therapy, lived longer, better lives. That's what it was. It was they chose mice for this test that had a specific disease that shortened their life by forcing them to age fast. You ever seen that movie with I forget what it's called, but he's like born and then 8 years later he's really old. Isn't Benjamin Button where he ages in reverse?
Yeah. So what are you thinking of?
There's another one that I swear might have been with Robin Williams where he just ages really, really fast.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Okay. Well, I can't remember it. Someone will correct me on it. But yeah, so that's been there. They've also used stem cell research
You
to...
said heal things that weren't supposed to heal. Do you remember a while ago they like genetically engineered mice to grow ears or something
yeah,
like that? I just imagine like that it got cut off in like a Reservoir Dogs situation, and then they grew it back with stem cells.
Or like a
My
Peter
mind went to
Iscariot situation.
My mind went to a weird place there.
They've also been using
Cut
stem
off my
cell
fucking ear.
therapy to heal scars, right? So skin tissue that's been irreparably damaged is now not irreparable anymore. Or at least won't be in the near future.
Just a bit ago, you mentioned what bacteria they trained to eat cancer cells. What was it?
Yeah, salmonella bacteria.
Yeah, and we
to
were saying
eat
that
cancer cells.
That sounds like sounds like the prequel series to like Resident Evil or something.
Oh, I think like anytime you get into biotech or bioengineering news, you will eventually find something that you think, this is absolutely the precursor to a doomsday scenario.
Yeah.
We all inject ourselves with this, and all of a sudden, 90% of us die off or become crazy. It's a fun field of research. I'd get into it if I had the mind for medicine, but I don't.
Yeah, and I suppose terribly recent news. So it's January 2017, which means that, and it's now the first couple of days of a new administration.
January 26th, to be exact.
Yes.
Yeah.
And lots of stuff is happening.
A lot of policy changes going on in the most powerful government in the world.
Of particular note, as opposed to us, a lot of, like you said, a lot of agencies being kind of pushed to the wayside, and ones that most people, us included, would think that those agencies are handling pretty important scientific matters.
Yeah. Things
namely
like
the
EPA,
the FDA,
NASA.
So, yeah, we'll see where this goes, but right now that's what's going on, and so we thought we would take the time to talk about a topic that's really, really important to science, and it's really
very, very basic too. You've probably all learned it in, I don't know, middle school.
Probably.
I don't think I had that kind of instruction in elementary school. Maybe they're teaching it to kids earlier these days.
Yeah, they're teaching kids how to code nowadays.
They should. It's very important.
They really are.
Very important. Those are the jobs of the future. We talk about, we don't have manufacturing jobs anymore. Well,
that's
that's because technology took
school.
over manufacturing.
That's why I'm going back to school. It's like, oh, shit.
Oh, crap.
Physics degree to get
and with these
anywhere.
people who are only like 2 years younger than me, but they know how to code. Great.
It's just logic. It's actually really fun. I love it. I have a good time doing it.
I mean, I'm going to law school next fall, and that's all logic, too. So, it's fun stuff. Fun stuff. But we'll be talking about the scientific method.
Indeed. And also, the process of, you could call it farm to table for science. How does science get from where science is done to,
the consumer
your plate
of science?
Exactly.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Nutritious.
Yeah. So we're gonna start with
balanced meal.
What the scientific method is, I guess. If anybody didn't learn about it,
you may have heard it when you were 11 or 12.
Depending on your schooling.
Depending on your schooling, you might not have heard it till you were 15 or 16. But you've probably
Depending on your schooling. I'm sure there's somebody out there who's never heard of it. Who's like, what is that?
These are beautiful. Thank you.
I forgot you had those.
I am so down.
I swear
putting these in my mouth.
I thought I said we were going to eat on camera.
I'm so hungry. I'm gone.
That's fair. Totally fair. No. Go for it.
Have one.
Right, they look like they're burning hot, though.
They're very hot, but not too hot.
Oh, wait.
So, we're talking about the scientific method. It's something that you guys all probably learned when you were younger.
Let's not skip over the fact that David ordered some pretzels. They came here. We nommed them up. We were like, rah, 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 and we came back and got some new beers, and now we're back on topic.
We forgot a crucial part of that. We spent like a good 15 minutes
hanging
with
out
that puppy over there.
Holy shit. That puppy's adorable.
Oh my gosh. It was...
We should see if they'll bring him up to the camera.
The puppy's gone.
Oh, they left?
They just left. Yeah.
No!
That's how I excused myself from the conversation over there, because they left.
That's terrible.
You
know what? I have some pictures of the puppy, though. I'll put it up on Instagram. Anyway.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we were talking about the scientific method. We were just getting into the basics of it.
Yeah. So the scientific method is something you all probably learned at some point in your education, whether that was when you were 11, 12, 15, 16. At some point, you should have learned how
whatever age
people
you're at right now.
Find anything out. Yeah, you might be figuring it out just now. But so here's a little refresher. The scientific method is a way for everybody, for humans, to gain knowledge. That's what it is at its core. It'll be defined as something like a method of research in which a problem is identified, data are gathered, a hypothesis is formulated from the data, and then the hypothesis is empirically tested. And then the whole process starts over again. Data is gathered, new hypothesis is made, and you continue on.
Right.
But there are generally, 5 or 6 or sometimes 14 steps to this process.
12, I learned it. Wait, 12-step process sounds like the addiction one, doesn't it?
The what?
The 12-step process for making sure, getting yourself off drugs.
No. I'm not familiar with that process. I've never been to an AA meeting.
Me neither. But
yeah.
Anyway.
So we're just going to go over the basic 5-step process where you've got a question. We are naturally inquisitive people, so we ask questions like, that crow over there, that's black. Well, why is it black? Are all crows black? And you form a hypothesis on that question. Like, I hypothesize that all crows are black.
Right.
Great, pretty simple. But then what you need to do is make a prediction. And this is the key to the scientific method. It's one of the big keys. Is this prediction needs to be falsifiable. This prediction you need to be able to disprove it. So you're going to say, my prediction is that all crows are black. And then you move on to testing that prediction. So if you've said all crows are black, then you need to go out and search for crows that are not black. You need to try to disprove yourself.
Right.
And then if you search the whole world, you've cataloged every crow in existence, and you found that all of them are black, you analyze them and say, well, all crows are black, my hypothesis stands. Or maybe you found an albino crow.
Sure, they're out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And your analysis could say, I was wrong, my hypothesis was incorrect. All crows are not black.
Right.
And then you would go back and revise your hypothesis. You could say, well then, if being black is not what makes a crow, or if being black is not sufficient to say that you are a crow, or being a crow does not necessarily mean that you're going to be black, all crows have straight beaks. And then you'd move on from there. And especially if you were to search every crow in the world, I'm sure you'd see other differences between crows that would make you think, well, why does this crow have this and this crow not? Why is this behavior in this way and this crow's behavior completely counter to that? And that's the whole point of the scientific method, to not only provide a way for us to discover the world around us, but also it's a way to encourage us to continue asking questions,
right,
to satisfy that natural human curiosity,
right,
to discover the world around us. So that's the basic premise. You've got a question, a hypothesis, a prediction. You test that prediction and hypothesis, and you analyze the data that you gathered in your testing.
And you might go round and round and round. I mean, ideally, you'd go round and round and round. Like,
yeah.
You look at your analysis, you reform your idea of your hypothesis or your prediction, and then you test it again. You analyze it again until you can come to a reasonable accuracy, I suppose.
Right, and that's that reasonable accuracy is a relatively new idea, honestly, because from ancient Greek times, to do science simply meant to view the world around you with an unbiased eye. That was their definition of doing science. And back in that time, science was not inexplicably, it was intertwined with philosophy, and nowadays we sort of see those as two separate topics, and we really shouldn't. There's so much overlay into why we view the scientific method as valid. But that recent idea that that you're... Oh, shoot. What were we talking about? Recent idea?
Reasonably accurate?
Reasonably accurate, yeah. That's a more recent idea. And it came about in the early 1900s. So in the early 1900s, you have two big thinkers. You have more than that, but there are two big thinkers that come to the forefront in the scientific community. You have Albert Einstein, and you have Freud. Sigmund Freud, thank you. You saw that I was struggling there. And you have Sigmund Freud. You know, both of them consider themselves scientists. Albert Einstein is trying to prove things about his theory of quantum relativity. Actually, it's incorrect. Albert Einstein is trying to disprove things about his theory of quantum relativity, whereas Sigmund Freud is trying to convince people of his psychological theories on human nature. Now, there was a third thinker back in the time who didn't consider himself a scientist per se. He was more of a philosopher. His name was Karl Popper. Karl Popper went to lectures by both of these individuals, Freud and Einstein, and noticed a difference between the way they addressed the world around them. Whereas Freud explained the present by examining the past, and could constantly revise the past in order to explain the present, Albert Einstein was coming up with theories that predicted the future and then searching for ways to destroy those theories. So while Einstein waited for months for an eclipse that could disprove his entire theory of general relativity, Freud, when countered with, well, your theory about everything a woman does being based on penis envy doesn't make sense, would say, oh, well, in this scenario it still does because penis envy. He could constantly adjust his analysis of the past to fit his picture of the present. Whereas Albert Einstein took a real risk in saying, here's my theory to predict the future, so if the future does not happen in this way, it will refute my theory.
Just want to correct you there. You said you threw out the term quantum relativity. It would be general relativity.
General
or
relativity. Did I say
relativity.
quantum? I meant general relativity.
Yeah, general relativity or special relativity. I'm not sure what it is in this case because I'm not familiar with this story.
Oh, you're not familiar with the Einstein's 1919 eclipse?
No.
Oh, we should get into that sometime.
All right, yeah.
But,
shame on me.
You know, it's the same year that my company was founded.
But anyway.
As old as general relativity. Oh my gosh, we should put that on our labels.
As old as general relativity.
As old as general relativity. But anyway.
Well, I mean, general relativity doesn't really know time, I suppose.
Fair.
It was
fair.
established.
Oh, this is getting too nerdy for
at the advent of, time and space itself. Anyway, so you were talking about the differences between.
So Karl Popper realized this difference, that one person was seeking to confirm his beliefs, whereas another was seeking to disconfirm his hypotheses or beliefs. And this all relates back to a certain level of assurance, because Karl Popper didn't believe that anything was 100% certain. We couldn't know anything for sure, because in order to determine if something was true, you'd have to be able to not disprove it at every single moment. And there's always an infinite array of moments where it could be disproven.
Right.
Say, for example, we've got gravity. Gravity works on things being pulled towards other things. If things were ever repelled from another thing and it was due to gravity or not due to some other repellent force, then we would eventually have to say, well, crap, the theory of gravity being always attractive is wrong.
Right.
But in order for us to get there, we'd have to measure and observe every single instance of an interaction between two objects with mass.
Right. Yeah.
So Karl Popper says that in order to believe something, in order to consider something true enough for all intents and purposes, you have to have a relative level of assurance or confidence that this thing will stand up to the tests of time. And so that's where you get this level of confidence rather than, well, we're absolutely 100% sure of everything. Karl Popper thought that you should never close your mind to new data or else you'll never learn. You should always keep an open mind. Always keep the idea in the back of your head that what you believe may be false.
Right.
So that when you see data that contradicts your predictions, you are able to accept it and move on.
Yeah.
And this idea it's the foundation for scientific thought nowadays. It's why when we develop theories and seek to disprove them, because there's this confirmation bias that Freud had, where no matter what, if you search for evidence to prove your hypothesis, you're going to find it. Imagine Santa Claus.
Right.
I hypothesize that Santa Claus exists. Okay, I'm going to search to prove my hypothesis. Well, there he is at the mall. Great, he exists.
Yeah.
There's so much toys of him, there are depictions of him, art from him from
cookies and milk, all that
years
stuff.
past. Santa Claus or Sinterklaas or some method of old man with generous intentions exists. It's only by trying to disprove myself that I can find out, does he exist or not? So then I'd say, well, if Santa Claus
don't
exists...
spoil it for people.
Oh, okay.
Don't spoil it for people.
Yeah. You think they get the idea?
You might not know who's out there watching. Santa Claus is real.
It's funny to think that sort of idea didn't come about until the 1900s, but
That is weird.
it's led us in our scientific pursuits ever since.
Yeah, so Popper's kind of the granddaddy
Of modern scientific thought.
Yeah.
So, but oh crap, where do we go from there?
Oh, so let's talk about why the scientific method works. Why does it produce a result that is believable? And part of that is based upon that idea that you constantly try to improve your hypothesis,
your own understanding of the world.
So it's about iteration, like not only for your own idea, but the fact that you can apply it to ideas that come before you. So science is very much reliant on the work of those before you, and if you're going to base your work or your assumptions, or your, not assumptions, but like your knowledge of science, you need something to work off of. So let's just say, for instance, like we were talking about Einstein. So let's talk about the law of gravitation, law of gravity. You know, our current understanding of general relativity and gravity would not be possible without Newton's understanding of gravity. So, like, we have to build off of those ideas. You have to constantly sort of improve on your knowledge of past science before you. And to do that, you have to be able to trust in the scientific method. I don't know.
Well, so you don't need to be able to trust in it. The value of the scientific method relies in that testing area.
Yeah.
So when someone proposes a test, this is a test that must be easily performed by anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of it.
Replicable.
And that's why if we go back to Newton, we can say, well, what did he have to work with? How did he come to these conclusions? We can replicate those tests.
Yeah.
And say, we see how Newton went from one step to another. So this empirical repeatability of experimentation is vital to the scientific method. If you've got data that you can justify with anything, then it's not really valuable because, well, you can use it to justify anything. Or if you've got data that can never be repeated, well, we know that you need to have a certain level of confidence in data in order to trust it. So if you've got a data value of 1, how can you ever trust that data?
Right. Your sample size.
Your sample size of 1.
Yeah. So where are we now?
I think we're on to trivia.
Might be.
Yeah. And we're back. Hey, how's it going?
It's doing well.
Me too.
We've taken a lot of detours tonight, but that's okay. We're still here.
Detours are the fun bit of this.
Yeah, it's true. But we got to round it back. We got to focus. Got to focus on trivia.
You know what's great about focusing?
Yeah.
It comes with shots. Trivia shots.
Hey.
So.
Which we're desperately in need of suggestions for. So tweet at us.
I mean,
if you want to suggest shots for trivia or the top of the show.
I'm not very creative. My idea of a shot is to take random shit, put it in a glass, and drink it. And it's always terrible, which I don't mind because I think shots are terrible. They taste awful, except for the good ones, and I don't know the good ones, so please suggest them.
My ideas of shots are straight whiskey, which I enjoy, but David does not.
Oh, whiskey's awful.
So,
oh,
yeah.
God.
#save.
I'd rather do straight
David.
gin.
I'm not going to drink straight gin.
I do straight whiskey.
But you do.
This is called
it.
Gin and Jargon.
Yeah, and we're never going to drink gin. That's the gag. Who wants to go first? You want to go first? You go first.
Okay, I'll go first. So we've talked about...
All right, it's been a while. People that know. So here's how trivia works.
Yeah,
we're going to each ask each other a trivia question. If you ask a question and the other person gets it wrong, then they take the shot. If they get it right, then you take the shot. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Someone's going to take shots, or 2.
Or 1. Or none.
None.
0, 1, or 2. That's
the one.
All right, go.
So, we've been talking about the philosophical grounding in the scientific method, why it's valuable, and the man behind that philosophy is Karl Popper. Now, that name, Popper, that brings to mind a particularly beloved cinema snack Popcorn.
Uh-huh.
When is the earliest recorded use of popcorn?
What? Is this a year?
Yeah, give me a year. And you've got a wide range to work with here.
What's the range?
Oh, that's going to be a lot of a hint. Okay. Your
You
range
can't just tell me to guess a year.
is 500 years.
500 years. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's quite a bit of a margin.
Or you could tell me where, too. You could tell me where the
Where?
earliest known popcorn was discovered.
I'm going to go that route because that seems easier.
Okay. Go
Corn
for
in
where.
general is kind of a new world thing. So I'm going to go... but that gives insight to the whens, too, doesn't it?
It does.
Major
doesn't
civilizations in the new world. Probably Mexico. Mayans or Aztecs. Let's go with 1100 BC. I'm sorry, 80.
So are you
BCE?
Are you getting are you guessing
I'm guessing the year. I'm guessing
or
the year.
the place? Okay,
I'm gonna guess the
okay.
year. 1100 BCE.
1100 before Christ.
No, BCE before Common. I'm sorry, BC.
BC
I'm saying
before
CE.
Common Era.
CE.
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 So 1100 as in it's 2000 as in like 9,000 years ago?
1100 AD or CE. I'm getting it all mixed up.
Man.
CE.
So 900 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ish.
You were closer with the where.
Damn it!
So
Mexico?
The oldest popcorn ever found was discovered in the Bat Cave of New Mexico.
Oh.
Not Mexico, so you would have been wrong.
Okay.
But
Wrong two ways.
about
New Mexico.
5,600 years ago.
Earlier.
It wasn't discovered 5,600 years ago.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
just
Wow,
that's the
surprisingly
dating.
new.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't think that popped corn would last very long, considering how quickly I dispatch it. But yeah, there are some theories that say perhaps people who grew corn ate popped corn before they ever ate, boiled corn or cooked corn, just because it's pretty easy to get popped corn.
All right, well, that's one for me.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
All right, this is real dumb because I came up with it just before because I forgot all about trivia. We've been talking about the scientific method, and I want you to consider a different kind of method,
Oh crap.
namely the company called Method. There's a company called Method. What do they make?
Oh, damn it. I was about to ask, familiarize me with this company. What do they make? Damn it. Method.
Method.
Is it some bullshit business thing? Like they make synergistic solutions? Or
No,
are they actually
nothing like that,
manufacturing something?
They don't make solutions. They manufacture something.
Okay. Method.
Clearly, you don't take as many Target trips as I do, just walking around looking at nothing.
Oh, I never go shopping. Method. I'm just gonna. They make clothes. Can I be that general, or do I need to get more specific?
No, that's general enough.
Okay, clothes.
Nah, you're wrong.
Dang it.
They make soap
They make soap.
and detergents and stuff.
Why are they called Method?
I don't really know. That's what they do. That's the best that I could come up with.
Now, is it
notice.
method as in like the scientific method,
M-E-T-H-O-D.
or is it method as in we are meth heads
I wish that'd be better.
and we like soap? I don't know.
that's what they
Cheers.
do, yeah.
Cheers. We both deserve one of these.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're man. Yep. Yeah, that was a good question.
Thank you.
Ooh. Ah. Oh, it's disgusting. No.
Delicious in a certain type of way. You know, it kind
I
of
mean,
reminds
that's what people say. Never mind.
Say about what, David?
Nothing.
All right, well, we did our trivia shots, which means it's time to move on to the second portion of our discussion here today. We're talking about science communication, yeah.
Comunicado.
So this is how science gets from the scientists to the rest of us people, and what kind of process is involved in doing that. Yeah.
And some of the pitfalls in there.
True pitfalls.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of ways. There's a couple of ways that science gets to people. I would say the most legitimate way is through a journal, scientific journal.
How about doing it themselves? I mean, that's a pretty legitimate way to
Curveball.
get it to yourself.
Curveball. Sure, yeah.
Glad I could provide.
Okay, Bill Nye. Yeah, you can do the science yourself. You can do the science
Oh, man.
yourself.
That is, like, the best compliment I've been given in 2017, being compared to Bill Nye.
We're only 26 days in, so just wait.
Shh. Don't tell people.
Next time I'm going to lay one on you. Anyway, yeah, you could do the science yourself, sure. But as far as, like, advanced scientific communication goes, there's a couple of ways that it gets out. The scientific journals are one of the big ones. And traditionally the most common. And what is cooking here? It smells delicious.
It smells
Somebody's
great.
cooking a steak or something like that.
It smells like straight up steak.
Yeah.
I did not have enough soft pretzel to prevent me from wanting steak.
We'll go somewhere. Oh, there's a food truck right on the corner. It's Brothers Drake is over there.
Brothers Drake has a food truck?
No, yeah, not a Brothers Drake food truck.
Right, but there's one over there?
Tokyo Go-Go is always there.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
It's really good. And we get some mead.
Yes.
We would record a small segment when we're there. Anyway,
Deal.
so scientific journals is definitely one of them. Scientific conferences are another one. University appearances, things like that. Another one. And then you got like science media or just sometimes regular media.
Just the news in general.
Yeah. So let's start with what I personally, well, not personally, but like what is usually perceived to be kind of the most legitimate way to get science stuff out there. And I think, and that would be peer-reviewed journals. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And
So-
that gets back to how the point of the scientific method is to create things that are repeatable.
Right.
So that they can be peer-reviewed, so that other people can come to the same conclusion and the same results that you did.
All in all, I mean, like the peer review process is almost integral to the scientific method. It's part of the analysis, really. So what peer review means is that, I should say the process is that you have your bit of sciencing, you do your experiment, you gather your data, you analyze it, you do it all over again. You yourself or your group are pretty sure you got it right. And what you'll do then, most of the time, is you'll send your experiment, your data, and all your information, everything, to a scientific journal. And what that journal will do, and we're talking about an organization here, what those people at the journal will do is take that data and that experiment, and they'll send it out to a bunch of what are called peer reviewers. So a peer reviewer is a person or a group of people who work in the same field as you. So let's say that you're, what's the name of the field?
Biotechnician.
Yeah, like you're in biotech or biochemistry or something like that, and you come up with some experiment, biotech. They'll send that out to a bunch of other biochemists, and those people are going to look over your data. They're going to look over your method, which is more important, and come back with whether or not they think that your method for doing your experiment is legit.
Yeah. Is it valid? Were you accidentally looking for multiple variables when you should have been isolating one?
All kinds of stuff, yeah. So they're going to be real thorough about it. If those people come back to the journal and say, yeah, it's legit. The data looks good, the method looks good, let's pass it on. Then you can get published in a scientific journal.
But if in your search to discover all black ravens, or all black crows, you were also counting ravens, well, son, you screwed up.
Yeah, they're going to find that stuff.
Ideally.
And so that peer review process is really important. It's the peer review process is like the gatekeeper of scientific ideas. Like, if your experiment is either flawed in some methodical way, or it's irreplicable, in whatever way, then
or
it's
there's
no
a
good.
significant bias that's found within that
Yeah.
result. I mean, this is what saved us from not vaccinating our kids. That huge, not that huge, but
Didn't save some people.
It didn't save some people, and that's the tragedy of it. But the idea that vaccinating your kids causes autism was this
Single study.
a single study
Yeah.
funded by anti-vax campaigners. And when it was replicated many times over, they always found the opposite result, that vaccinations are a wonderful thing and we should all be getting vaccinated, because otherwise we are introducing death unnecessarily to ourselves and others.
Which brings me to the next kind of method of getting science out there, which is the media. Sometimes, the media is going to, I hate saying the media, but, they're going to pick up on some story which they find to be interesting or sensational. That's how that vaccine autism thing got out
Really
of hand.
blast out. Mhm.
One study was not even, legitimately reviewed, but it caught the attention of somebody. They spread that, and it just got way out of control. A similar thing happened to that. Remember that speed of light thing a couple of years ago? It was years
speed
ago,
of
probably
light thing?
2010.
No,
7 years
what was
ago or
that
so.
about?
There was one lab that determined that a certain particle had broken the speed of light,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
and the repercussion was that the idea that nothing could exceed the speed of light, meet or exceed the speed of light except for photons was supposedly broken. It was gonna totally turn physics on its head.
Yeah.
And two things. One, it turns out that really all it would have done was redefine the speed of light, like the actual measurement of it. But two, it was found out that their method was not even replicable.
Yeah.
It was just a calculation glitch.
Oh no.
But it caught the attention of the news. Like they got to it, and it blew up. So,
There was a similar thing very recently about how scientists, and this was the headline, scientists get negative temperatures, as in negative, below absolute zero. But what it was a confusion between the idea of temperature as absolute zero, meaning 0 Kelvin, and the heavier scientific view of absolute zero as zero entropy. And so it was sort of facetious in that people thought, what, you can get below 0 Kelvin? And it's like, no, you can't get negative motion. That doesn't really make sense. You just have motion in a different direction. It's just that you can create a system with very, very low entropy.
It just goes to say that, even in science, you kind of have to be careful about what you read.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the danger, is that the media is going to sensationalize everything it gets, because that's how it sells papers. And for a lot of... oh, crap. It's not paper anymore.
Ads. YouTube ads maybe? Yeah.
But also for a lot of scientists, professors themselves, their funding is based on publishing. So whenever they experiment, they have to publish. And they're pushed to publish with potentially incomplete results, potentially uninspiring results, but they have to swing it in such a way that it seems sensational, and the media only encourages that. And so you get this sort of spiral of bias where all parties involved want this to sound really cool to the layman, but it's not actually furthering any useful cause.
Yeah.
So peer review, people, that's the way to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Find someone who really hates what you do and see if they can find something wrong with it. They also have to be willing to do the testing, but yeah, it's...
Oh, no, I think what we're trying to say, all in all here, is that this science in general, when it's properly conducted, is trustworthy. Like, when a lot of scientists get together and say something, it's because they have good reason to.
Yeah.
They've gone through the process. They've done the testing.
They've double-checked one another. They've in most cases, eliminated that bias that we see in certain large company-funded projects. And it's, if you have such a wide agreement from such rigorous people, then you can generally accept what they're saying, because what they're saying are only things that they haven't managed to disprove. Most of us will go about our lives saying, well, I believe this, and I'm going to search for things that agree with my beliefs.
Right.
Whereas these people are people whose job it is to disagree with themselves, to refute everything they think they know on a daily basis.
Well said. Yeah.
Science rules.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Got any, we need something. We have a last thing to cheer with.
We did.
Want to get another beer?
Cheers.
Yeah. I feel like we have so much more beer to go through to talk about stuff.
Yeah, I know. So let's talk about something that I think is very pertinent to today's society. Fuck tipped employees. We need to get rid of tipping. It's useless. Go. You look like you have something to say about that, and I'm glad, because this is going to get us through these beers.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I do think it's unfair. The lower wage and everything is that's a real fuck you. The idea that you have to. I kind of agree. I kind of disagree. Here's my point for tipping. It encourages good service.
So, does that mean that you, in your own job, do not try to do your best? Are you screwing around? Are you trying not to do well? The encouragement for doing a good job is a good wage, is a secure job. You don't need the additional, well, we're not going to give you anything to encourage you to do a good job. Everyone else in our entire economic system is encouraged simply by their wage and motivation to do well, their growth potential, their ability to keep their job. Why do we suddenly say, oh, well, in this industry, the food service industry, they could only possibly be motivated to do well because of this tipping thing? It doesn't make sense.
I suppose I take a bit of a hybrid approach. I think that you can be paid a regular wage, but I don't think that tipping in general should go away.
I think it should. It introduces ambiguity and difficulty in the process, and it keeps increasing.
What do you mean? What keeps increasing?
Tips. See, when I was a kid, my dad taught me, you tip 10%, and if they do a good job, you tip up to like 15, and if they do a bad job, you tip down to 8. But you've got to tip.
8 is hard math.
It was the olden days.
Or hard math was the norm.
When we memorized, multiplication tables and shit.
Oh, I did that shit. Yeah, my dad made me do that shit in the car rides.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was made to memorize Bible verses in car rides.
Oh, no, I had the multiplication table.
I prefer your scenario.
My dad, my dad made me do, he would do all the numbers. So he would do he would just pick one. So he'd be like 5. Well, 5's so easy. 4, right?
4.
And we go 4 times 1.
What? 4.
4 times 2.
8.
4 times 3.
12.
4 times 4.
16.
4 times 5.
20.
4 times
24.
6. And then 7, and then 8, and then 9, and 10. You go all the way to 12. I think we did 12 by 12, right?
Okay, yeah. You get to a gross.
Huh?
You get to gross.
You get to what?
Gross.
Gross.
12 by 12. 144. Gross. 1 gross.
That's a gross? What's
That's
a gross?
Oh, it's 144.
Why is it called the gross?
I don't know. That's what it's called.
I've never heard that before in my life.
You've never heard that? Oh, okay.
Not even from my dad.
That's going to be a What? I know more than your dad, because that's exactly what that statement meant.
Yeah. The ESL father that I... What the fuck is a gross? I never knew this 144 was a gross.
Yeah, no.
That must be a German thing.
No. 1 gross is officially 144. Man, this should have been a trivia question ages ago. We should do a gross science podcast, and I'm going to come up with that question.
From French, gros, thick, meaning relating to numbers involving multiples of exponents of 12. A square dozen.
Yeah.
A gross. Oh, what's a great gross?
Is that to the third power or to the fourth?
It's a cubic dozen.
Cubic. Oh, yeah.
Calculate that motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
1728.
1728.
I've never heard that before.
You've never heard of it gross? That's incredible.
It's an English thing. I mean, like
no,
an
it's
English
a French
like
thing. English, French.
Yeah, sure, but yeah.
I don't know. It's I don't know.
How
It's
big is
really
it?
common.
We get far off topic. I guess it's just like a weird personal experience, but like in countries that don't have tipping cultures, I feel like I just got bad service.
What, in cultures that don't tip?
Yeah.
I feel like I got efficient service.
On my experience. That's because you went to Germany. Everything is efficient there.
I mean, Germany, Austria, Switzerland.
I went to England,
Mm-hmm.
and the service there was not awesome most of the time.
Okay.
And I don't know. I'm not saying that it's related to the tipping thing, but I don't know. I feel like just it's ingrained in American culture that some services require tipping, whether or not they are paid a tipped wage. I think that's
another thing. There's so much ambiguity involved, and here's the reason I really don't like tipping is that people who do earn a basic wage are requesting tips, and we don't know any better than to not give them tips. And so people are giving tips to people who don't deserve them, who get at least minimum wage or higher.
Okay.
And that's
what you're saying. There's
that's an abuse of the system that it's socially unacceptable to try to publicly clarify.
So do you tip at restaurants and stuff?
I tip well, sir. I tip very well.
I thought it was going to be like a Mr. Pink situation. Mr. Pink?
No. I don't know who Mr. Pink is.
You never seen Reservoir Dogs?
Nope.
Look it up. Somebody's going to yell at me about this.
But, in scenarios where I can tell you're not supposed to be tipped, like Subway, those employees are paid a minimum wage.
It is Mr.
You
Pink.
should not tip them. Same with Chipotle, same with, like...
Well, I don't tip them, because I know that they're
things.
not paid. Or
So,
I know they're paid regular
I mean,
wage.
my experience with untipped employees is similar, and I think this is maybe the biggest complaint against removing tipping is that since it is service where you're directly involved with the people, if you're not tipped, you're not motivated to be extraordinarily happy and kind and nice to the people you're working with.
Uh-huh.
That's fair, and I admit while I was in Germany, my wait staff did not beat around the bush. They got to the point, what would you like? Okay, here it is. Good day. There were no pleasantries, but then again, that didn't waste my time. You should totally come. I'm going in 2 weeks.
Oh shit! I
You
can't
wanna
play in that
join?
short. I can't play in that short.
You can get a free hotel room.
What's the airfare?
It's actually really expensive this time of year, and I have no idea why.
It's really expensive to book it in 2 weeks. That's what it is.
That's probably it. Yeah. When I went in December, it was really cheap. It was $1,300 round trip.
Oh God.
That's pretty nice. But, yep. Going back for business. A couple weeks. Should be fun.
Try to catch Oktoberfest sometime.
I need to do an Oktoberfest in Munich. It's not going to happen
How do you
next year.
pronounce that city name?
What? München? München. So in German...
How did it get bastardized or whatever to Munich?
Because people who speak English have a really, really hard time with the U with umlauts on it.
So how is it pronounced?
München. Yeah.
München.
Yeah.
I speak English. That wasn't hard.
Yeah.
I speak
really
other
isn't.
languages too, but still.
Yeah. So you've got in German the difference between the U, the U, and the U with the umlauts, the U,
okay,
is not easily distinguishable, and it's even harder when you're talking about the O in German and the O with an umlaut, the O and the U. So
as opposed to O,
the U and the U.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that.
Never did I
distinguishing
think
is
that.
very difficult.
Never did I think that German would be so close to French in that regard.
Yeah, it's true. There are a lot of German words that they're simply French bastardizations.
Okay.
Like if you're ever gonna say a word in German that ends in Tion.
Tion, Okay.
Like, you can totally
Shun
say
in
it with a
English.
French accent and it counts.
Chon.
Yeah, like distribution. Distribution.
Chon.
Like,
Okay.
it's that sion that you can add in German, and they're like, oh, well, that's a French word. It means distribution. We get it. Mittelswerkverkehr. You know, it's just easier sometimes in French.
Still, though, I mean, I haven't studied that many languages, but of the ones I've learned, I still think that English is fucking hard.
English is awful. It's horrible.
It really is really awful. It is hard. I do not blame anybody who has a hard time with English.
And I'm sorry that we force so many people to learn English.
I don't know if we force them to, but just...
That's true. I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry that we're so successful that you have to learn this language.
Yeah, there you go. Other people are just like, well, eventually we'll all have to learn Chinese.
You know, that's probably very true.
Yeah.
You know why I think that's going to be true? Because in China, genetic modification is legal. And here it is not. So soon, once we master it, they will be the first to produce very capable people. It won't be long before we manufacture ourselves the way we manufacture everything else. I mean, we already do it in a way. That's sort of the idea of self-discipline and, growing as a human being, but...
All right, we got our
Still.
beers. Might as well do the outro. I'm sure
Indeed.
a lot of that is going to get cut.
Yeah,
anyway.
probably.
All right, I got a list for this. Hold on. Hold on. All right.
You got to hold on. Yeah, you gotta hold on.
Well, that certainly was a bit of a runaround, but here we
You
are.
spin me right round, baby.
Thank you.
Right round.
All right, here we are. You ready? Are you ready? Thanks for listening to Gin and Jargon. It's always a fun, pleasurable time to get out to bars and drink and talk science and stuff.
My pleasure.
If you like what you heard and saw, make sure you subscribe on iTunes and on YouTube. Leave a review on iTunes. I guess that's like a big thing.
Oh, yeah.
Leaving reviews and ratings and stuff like that. Check us out on social media. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. You can just look us up there. I'm not going to give you the @s or whatever.
Gin and Jargon. It's pretty
Gin
easy.
and Jargon. Yeah, just look for it. Shot suggestions. So this is a big, not a big thing, but we would suggest that you would go on Twitter and suggest the shots that we're going to take during episodes, just so we don't have to come up with so many bullshit shots all the time. So go on Twitter, send us some shot ideas. We'll put them down. We'll definitely take yours because
Eventually, we're just going to start mixing random things. So
Yeah, for sure.
we like legitimate
Yeah.
shots.
If you want to see everything, we have a well, not everything. Not everything. That's a different kind of video. But if you want to see everything that we've published and stuff like that, all our information, social media links, blah, 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 we're at ginandjargon.com. Ginandjargon.com.
.com.
On the web. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hey.